Cloak and Dagger is sort of the name of the company. Cloak and Dagger offers cybersecurity solutions and consulting focused on simple products for the everyday user, not the IT department. A little bit about us. I'm kind of a big deal. Tony's kind of a big deal. You can read about it later. I went to Oxford and spoke at the UN. He's got a bunch of letters. Now, biggest problem. Cybersecurity is a problem because security products are too intimidated to be used or too complicated to be used properly. 91% of cybercrimes leverage some sort of mistake made by a regular everyday computer user, and that's the challenge that we're trying to address here. On the small business side, 44% of businesses have been victims of cyber attacks, cost about $9,000 on average, and that causes 60% of them to go out of business within 6 months. Cybercrime is growing, it's not going away. Solution, we have a three-pronged approach. We're starting consulting and training. We're building a really cool software application on encryption. Big claim to fame is not only is it dummy-proof because it's the simplest to use on the market space, but also we'll be the only ones in the world that can actually recover a password. And that's about 50% of calls into IT departments in corporate America are, hey, I lost my password. That's why corporate America has been deathly afraid of people encrypting their own stuff because eventually they're going to lose it, right? And then lastly, we've got patents for a really cool computer that's basically unhackable. And that I can't talk too much about, but cool website. Competitive advantage on the encryption. I'm going to talk about the encryption a little bit. Password recovery. Remember Princess Bride? Do you think you're pretty smart? Have you ever heard of Microsoft, Adobe? Morons. This is Microsoft right here with their encryption product. Hey, if you lose your password, sorry, you're just out of luck. We'll be able to actually send this to your IT department and you'll be able to recover it. That's what a typical screenshot looks like inside a folder. With our product, you simply click on it, punch in a password, give yourself a little hint, and boom, everything is encrypted. You can see at a glance that it's encrypted by looking at a little spy guide. We keep adding the little logo so you know where your Excel spreadsheets are, your Word documents, etc. Eventually it looks like that. Every document is absolutely secure, and all you had to do was punch in a password. That's it, no training needed. We do custom versions. That's the DOJ version, which is really cool that they're using over at Department of Justice right now. We can make money. We do an affiliate program, hardware and software resellers, typical IT space. Competition, I won't go into everything, but look, we got all the check marks. Projections, first years we're ramping up, about 300,000. Next year we should start to ramp up quite a bit into 3.5 million with an estimated net profit of 1.2. And then hopefully it takes off after that. This will give us enough revenue to finish out the hardware product, and hardware product is easily $1 billion product. Funding sought. We need a lot of engineering and R&D on the hardware side. Also, we need 2 full-time software engineers to do a lot of the really cool stuff that we have planned on the software, and general working capital for sales and all that. As far as the exit strategy, this type of product has a lot of really good potential acquirers. One that we really like is Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Imagine what a competitive advantage would be for Hewlett-Packard if everybody that had a Hewlett-Packard computer can easily encrypt and send files back and forth without worrying about anything getting stolen. That would be huge, and that's it. Other IT outsourcing, even Legal Shield, LifeLock, things like that could be a potential acquirer because of the branding and the simplicity of it. And that's it. Contact me. Easy breezy, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well, thanks to me, though, you don't need for me to, hey.
Well, now you have, we're going to do 20 minutes of Q&A, but we always like to ask the presenter, how can the community help you out, help your company succeed?
Okay, a couple of things. My partner, Tony, I'm trying to get money on my side, he's trying to get money on his side. Whoever gets the money gets rights to call it what they want, and you know, the full 40% of the business, and the other guy gets like 10% of the business. But so it'd be great if I got the money first, but if not, that's okay. He's a little farther along. He's met with 3 VCs this week in the Bay Area. The hardware side especially is very technical, and we discovered that a lot of the technical knowledge in the investment spaces out there, they're used to that stuff, so we're begrudgingly going out to Silicon Valley now, where we were kind of avoiding that. We wanted to keep this homegrown, because we're both big fans of Sacramento. So he was pretty far along in that regard. We got $2 million and one $9 million potential that are all going through due diligence right now. The hardware is really cool. Basically, it's like having a Rubik's Cube inside the computer, and a virus can't get through because a virus needs a certain operating system and a certain type of computer for the virus to work. And this thing actually is in constant change, so you never know what operating system you're going through. You never know if you're going through electric circuit board or fiber optic transfer. There's all kinds of different things. So there's about 3,600 different combinations that it's going through viruses can't get through. So we actually have a demo where people start sending viruses to a computer. You see them all showing up. You turn this thing on, and then all the viruses just disappear. It's amazing. And then, so that's where I'm at with that. So as far as what I could use, we're really looking to help facilitate our brand and bring in some money in the interim to do training and consulting. I talked to CHP, and they said, your product's great, we'll order your product when it's done, but for right now what we really need is end user training, simple end user training, kind of regular cybersecurity talk. A huge problem, as you said. Or actually noticed 91% of all computer hacks have something to do with somebody doing something stupid. So IT departments are shifting some monies into the training space for their end users. And again, I've presented at the Federal Bar Association. I've done training for them and speaking for them. I actually was a panelist at the United Nations in The Hague, Netherlands, on international cybercrime. Then my friend, who's a lot more technical, he's done a lot of consulting for IT departments for network security and things like that. So I figured we could start with end user training, move into professional services, and then that will help facilitate our product development. So what I could really use is some leads on some training. Booked the CHP for 11 locations at $5,000 a pop, so it'll give us a good $60,000 for the next few months. I could definitely use some more of those. Yeah.
Have you talked to the CSIC yet? The California Integration Center group that heads up California's cybersecurity initiative, their cybersecurity task force.
The California Cybersecurity Task Force?
Keith Trash, Scott Howland.
Are you talking about, are they in Department of Technology, that group, or is it
Keith Trash is Governor's Office of Emergency Services. Scott Howland, CHP. The CISO for the state is new.
Yeah.
From FireEye. So that group, part of their some of their action items are to establish a training program for cybersecurity within the state. Amy Tong, the state CIO, have you talked to any of those people?
Well, it's been a while. I'm actually on the California Cybersecurity Task Force, and they have a meeting at Emergency Services once every couple of months, but it's been a while since I've gone, since they kind of had a rotation in the people over there. But that's great to hear. I'd love to reach out to them again. I just connected with the CIO and the head security person yesterday on LinkedIn. But yeah, that'd be a great one.
If you grab my business card when we're done, I'll connect you with Keith Trash.
That'd be awesome. So, yeah, any questions?
Just a couple of clarifying questions, and apologies for not knowing more about your space. But so the business it's a hardware product. So you've created some sort of a software aspect that's in patent pending process. You're going to use that to build a hardware device.
Yeah, both. The company is going to be doing training, consulting, software, and hardware development. We've got to start somewhere, and training consulting has basically a no refund policy, so it's the easiest one to bring in revenue. Nobody says, hey, your speech is broken, I need to call the 800 number, so that's an easy one for us. The software's next. Hardware's definitely the most capital intensive to build the hardware out.
So what is the $2 million going to do for you?
$2 million is actually going to get a better, it'll get us, the software will be completed, because we started from scratch. It used to be Windows-based only. We scratched that completely, and we've rebuilt it on a generic platform that can be easily transferred to cell phones, Mac, all that stuff. That's almost done. So a lot of that monies would go towards the software development, but mainly it's the hardware engineers that are needed for the development of the hardware. That's fairly capital intensive.
So does the 2 million then in the plan, does that get you to the 3 million in year 2? Does that bridge you to that?
Yes, we can actually get there with less than that, utilizing the software, but the hardware is honestly, let's put it this way, the software is awesome. I made it, and so I want to say that's awesome. But really, the hardware is where the biggest impact on society is, and that's what we need to build. So if we need to focus on the software for a while until we can get mezzanine money or anything like that to get the hardware built, then fine. But the hardware is huge. You've got Internet of Things happening everywhere, and I've got a friend that actually hacked a Jeep for the U.S. government just to show that he could, and he actually drove a Jeep around with his cell phone. So it's a big problem. So the hardware stuff will solve a lot of that. And then again, on the encryption side, nobody in the world can recover a password. So every IT department in the world would love for their people to encrypt all of their contracts and HR forms and finance forms and all that kind of stuff. But they've been deathly afraid for people to do that because, let's face it, everybody forgets passwords. So that's a big impact.
So I've known you for a little while, and it looks like you changed up your strategy a little bit. So just a question for you. Are you mostly looking to build technology that someone would want to acquire, or are you looking to really focus on building your customer base, which I believe is enterprise? Is that?
Yeah, we've shifted up into enterprise now. This software is available for free on CNET and a bunch of other sites. We've had about 30,000 downloads for the freebie. But yeah, now that we have password recovery and a few of the other options, it makes it viable for the enterprise. So would like to move into that space. It does require, we're about $40,000 away from getting it completed to work on all platforms and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll have an app to download on Apple's and Google's download sites and all that stuff. And that makes it more viable because on the enterprise space, that way they can pay for the licenses, their people can download the apps and things like that, and that way as people move around in the enterprise space like they do, they'll be able to interact and all that. Our biggest problem before was no password recovery, so it was scary. And number two, you had to be sitting at your computer when somebody emailed you something, or if you had to access things and all that kind of stuff. And so with people, everyone's moving around, they got their phones in their hand, it was a big problem. So I scratched everything, threw it up for free just to get some downloads, and said we're building this from scratch. But we're out of money. My wife would kill me if I go keep going at this with my own capital. So, and she could do it too. She's very passionate.
So the training is the ramp for the software. For the software to hardware, is that is like a custom ASIC, or are you basically taking the software and going for a multiplicative factor in hardware, or is this a different product?
That's a fantastic question. It's actually, the encryption is a great standalone product, but we're taking a big core of the code out of that, and we're actually integrating it into the hardware so that if something funky shows up, but we're not quite sure if it's legit or not, we actually silo that, but we encrypt it as it's going. That way it can't execute because it's encrypted. And if a lot of people don't know what encrypted means, they think it's locking something. It's not actually. It's actually scrambling it up. So if something is encrypted, it gets scrambled. It can't execute. Then we silo it, open it up in a safe space, and if it starts to do something wonky, we get rid of it. So the encryption is actually used in the hardware itself, but it's a very viable product.
So if I understand your question, understand your answer, yes, the hardware is almost the software turns faster, turns into silicon.
I'd have to go to no.
Okay.
We're in a wonky stealth space with the hardware, but again, the hardware is more like a Rubik's
So it's a
Cube
different
where-
product.
Yeah, it's a completely
So
different
you're
product.
talking
Like the
three
computer-
different products. You're offering a service, a training, a software product, and a hardware product.
Yeah, the hardware product is basically like 8 different computers crammed into one, all operating on different operating systems using different types of.
So the reason I bring this up is you're going to have to hit 2 pivots, right? You're going to have to run 3 businesses, or at some point fail on 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah,
Oh,
Or just pick one.
well, yeah, that's my.
That's kind of the way to go, right? I mean, if you're sort of your resources are limited, your time window of executing on something is limited, the best way to go is pick one and go towards that.
I do understand what you're saying,
Right.
but our pick one would be, we're building a prototype and we're marketing a software, we're selling licenses, period. We're not gonna be building little machines that go into cars and trucks. We're gonna be
Yeah.
selling the patent to Ford.
I totally, I see that, and I feel like the hardware pursuit is, after listening to everything else, that you have these other capabilities, the hardware pursuit just seems like more of a reach, and more, you're incrementally increasing your risk factor by pursuing a hardware model.
Hardware is hard.
That's why it's called hardware.
Well,
That's the secret
so my
sauce,
take
right?
was-
The hardware's kind of the secret sauce.
My take is, Dave, that if you're 40K away from finishing the software, like, to me, that seems like that's a, and if your wife is on you about risk and such, that would be the play. And if it's got runway, after the 40K is completed and you've got the software now, you can effectively take to market, it's fully baked. Like, that's start bringing a cash register at that point, right? If you're ready.
gotcha.
Versus a hardware path, which is, it's a longer path, it's a more expensive path, it's a more risky path. Because by the time you're done with it, things may have changed. As you said, IoT is changing every day, right? And the licensing focus, if you have a software tool that's functioning properly, and now you're making great progress on that front, it opens up all kinds of other collaboration opportunities, licensing opportunities related to that space.
Yeah, there's some truth in that. If you take it as a standalone, it's truth. But I'll be honest with you, all the meetings that we've had, and like I said, from here I go to the RSA show to meet with, to have another meeting with one of the founders of Yahoo. They all say the same thing. The encryption is really cool. That hardware can change the world. So we're not giving that up. And honestly, the patent on the hardware is done. So we've already got the patent on the hardware, and we don't have to.
It's approved.
What's that?
It's been approved.
It's approved. It's done. It's done. It's about 44 pages on a patent. So it's the next level. Again, I won't get into the details of it, but and I understand what you're saying as far as getting the revenue is concerned. Software is done, easy sell, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me that the revenue and the funding wasn't an issue, right? If you had people that lined up for the hardware aspect to pursue that, fantastic. But changing the world doesn't pay the bills, right? No, just that's true. And
Yes.
Bringing in revenue from a product that's baked and marketable, that does pay the bills. So, from background in advising startups, that would be kind of what we typically would see as success factor.
Gotcha.
My 2 cents.
Anyone else?
Time for one more question.
Are you talking to any of the potential companies that want to acquire the technology too about funding?
Interesting you say that. We were just having that conversation. My friend was a little paranoid about talking to Silicon Valley until we were far enough along that we had defendable IP, which we're there now. So we haven't reached out to any of them yet, but it's definitely on our docket here shortly. But good point.
All right, well, thank you very much, Dave. And